Welcome back to Sunday Night Spookies, the podcast dedicated to exploring the mysterious and the spooky unknown. My name is Lex.
And I'm Sarah.
And this is episode 14, Haunted Objects.
Yes. I'm very excited for this one. We have 4 pretty well-known ones, I'd say.
I think so.
Like, I've heard of all of them.
Yeah.
I didn't know the whole backstories to all of them. Mm-hmm. I still don't know the backstories to yours. But.
Yeah, well, that's just how it goes sometimes. So there could probably be multiple parts to this. Probably will be multiple parts. But I'm going to jump right in and start with a painting. I'm doing 2 paintings because, to be honest with you, I didn't think about it. Should have chosen 2 different things, 2 different mediums of haunted shit. And I didn't do that. So we're going to jump right in. First painting. It's called The Hands Resist Him. And I've seen this painting before. I don't know if you have.
We'll put them on the screen.
Yeah, somewhere here. Here-ish. The painting was created by artist Bill Stoneham in 1972. And the painting portrays a young boy and a female doll standing in front of a glass paneled door. And the doll thing is, I knew it was a doll, but it kind of reminded me that it was a doll. And weird combination. But it gets weirder.
I don't think I knew that was a doll.
I knew, but was reminded of the fact upon researching.
All right.
So in the glass of the paneled door, you can see tiny hands being pressed against the glass from like the other side.
And it's not like handprints, it's like...
It's like, to me, it looks like hands pressing.
Gross.
Yeah. Stoneham says that the painting is based on a photograph of himself at age 5 in Chicago. Okay. He says that the doorway behind him is a dividing line between the waking world and the world of fantasy and possibilities.
It's just fantasy.
The doll is his guide that will escort the younger version of himself through those worlds of fantasies and possibilities. A little weird. It's fine.
I'm like, okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Why a doll, though? Like, why is a doll your...
Never
guide through fantasy and possibility?
Never got there. But the hands represent alternative lives or realities.
This is deep for a 5-year-old.
It's a little bit weird. Okay, so...
I mean, he wasn't 5 when he painted it, but himself is 5 in the picture.
Right. And there was a poem that inspired the painting.
Oh, let's hear it.
I have the poem. He is of the seeing visions, his strokes reveal them, in a rush of color, of madness, of mystics. His head is the highest center. It must confront its enemy. The hands resist him, like the secret of his birth. His presence in the sanctum heartbeat, felt in darkness and in passion. Its sound the sole gift to that of silence. R. Ponzetti, 1971.
Of course it was written in the 70s.
So, okay.
Interesting poem.
Okay.
It's cool.
Because, like, right now, I'm like, the painting's just kind of, like, lighthearted. And,
that doesn't sound lighthearted.
like, the hands on the glass is kind of
That's a creepy way to depict that.
Right. But I'm like, okay, it's not like... It's just a painting of a boy and his hands and, alternate realities. Okay, fine.
Except if I didn't know that those hands... Why hands?
It's creepy to look at. Because, like, the boy kind of has, like, this, like... Not a scowl, but, like, stern look on his face, kind of. And there's, like, hands behind him and a weird doll.
Well, that, like, the hands behind him, to me, is, like, trapped. All these little kids trapped behind the glass door.
That's what I took from it when I saw it. I'm like, this is creepy.
It's just weird that he chose... I mean, artists are weird anyway.
Yeah, true that.
But, okay, whatever. Go on.
It was first displayed at the Feingarten Gallery in Beverly Hills in the 70s. I'm guessing on the Feingarten. Pretty sure that's how you say it. The painting was purchased from the gallery by John Marley, an actor from The Godfather. Never seen The Godfather.
Me either.
But apparently he's very well known. I don't know. After Marley's death, the painting was found at the site of an old brewery by an elderly couple. It was inside of an abandoned building.
Why?
No idea. They have no idea how it got there. It just was.
Okay. Weird.
Yeah. And they put the painting up for auction on eBay in February of 2000. So it's been like sitting around for a hot minute.
Yeah.
And the listing mentioned that the painting was haunted or cursed. There were claims in the eBay description that the character in the painting would move at night or would even occasionally leave the painting and enter the room in which it was displayed. Yeah. It's also alleged that there's photographic evidence of an incident where the female doll character appears to be threatening the boy with a gun that she's holding, causing him to leave the painting. And I did see like a little photo spread of that online. They like hooked a camera up to like watch it happen. And so if we can figure out a way to get that on here, we'll do that and show it off. Yeah,
What?
It's very weird.
Okay.
In my personal opinion, it's a stretch. Based on the pictures.
I've always thought the things moving in paintings, I've always been so skeptical of that. Like, you always feel like, oh, there's eyes in this painting are watching me. Like that, okay. That's like psychosomatic. But some of these like haunted paintings, people are like, the figures move and they'll change positions. And I'm like, how?
I mean, if you have the right lighting and just like the right amount of like worry, I think you could make it happen with
the right amount of worry.
Yeah.
I have all of the worry.
All of the worry.
Try me.
There was also a disclaimer in the description of the eBay listing relinquishing the former owners from any liability should someone buy the painting. So, I
mean, if I was going to sell something potentially haunted. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're not catching me for any kind of charge. It's just not happening. But I have the entire listing. It's a little bit long. But it was like written by the owners. So, it's
interesting.
It's authentic.
Authentic. We love authenticity.
Because everyone's talking about the listing on every single website I went to. They would talk about the listing. No, I want to read it.
Yeah, I want the listing. Kind of like when we did the Vivek Box episode. We had the listing.
Yep,
the listing.
The listing. So, this is what it says. When we received this painting, we thought it was really good art. A picker had found it abandoned in an old brewery. At the time, we wondered a little why a seemingly perfectly fine painting would be discarded like that. Today, we don't. One morning, our 4.5-year-old daughter claimed that the children in the picture were fighting and coming into the room during the night. Now, I don't believe in UFOs or Elvis being alive, but my husband was alarmed. To my amusement, he set up a motion-triggered camera for the night. After 3 nights, there were pictures. The last 2 pictures shown are from that stakeout of the camera. After seeing the boy seemingly exiting the painting under threat, we decided the painting has to go. Please judge for yourself. Before you do, please read the following warning and disclaimer. Warning, do not bid on this painting if you are susceptible to stress-related disease, faint of heart, or are unfamiliar with supernatural events. By bidding on this painting, you agree to release the owners of all liability in relation to the sale or any events happening after the sale that might be contributed to the painting. This painting may or may not possess supernatural powers that could impact or change your life. However, by bidding, you agreed to exclusively bid on the value of the artwork with disregard to the last 2 photos featured in this auction and hold the owners harmless in regard to them and their impact. So what they're talking about, the last 2 pictures are like the ones where it's like threatening.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're basing your bid on the art, not of what could be in the art, supposedly.
Well, then why list it as a haunted thing?
Right. So then they go on to say, now that we got this out of the way, one question to you eBayers. We want our house blessed after the painting is gone. Does anyone know anyone who is qualified to do that? The size of the painting is 24 by 36, so it's rather large. As I have had several questions, here are the following answers. There was no odor left behind in the room. There were no voices or the smell of gunpowder, no footprints or strange fluids on the wall. Yeah.
Gross.
To deter questions in this direction, there are no ghosts in this world, no supernatural powers. This is just a painting. In most these things have an explanation. In this case, probably a fluke light effect. I encourage you to bid on the artwork and consider the last 2 photographs as pure entertainment, and please do not take them into consideration when bidding. As we think it's a good idea to bless any house, we will still welcome input into that procedure.
First of all, the description of the painting to start off with was weird.
Yeah.
And why are you asking eBay?
Right.
It's not like a forum.
Right. But she's got a question for the eBayers. So her husband thinks something's up. Their daughter thinks something's up. The wife is just like, you guys are insane.
This is this crazy haunted painting. I've included pictures of how it being haunted. It's not haunted.
It could never be haunted.
It's very good
real.
art.
It's art alone.
Very good art. Mm-hmm. Disregard.
Right.
Well, how weird. That's weird.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was a weird listing, too. But some people who viewed the listing claimed that looking at the painting made them feel ill or have unpleasant experiences.
Unpleasant experiences.
It was in quotation marks when I read it.
What does that mean? Strange fluid on your wall?
Right.
What is it? What?
I don't understand. That's a thing we might
Oh, there's this haunted painting on eBay. I have a question for the seller. Is there strange fluid on your walls? Like who? I want to know the story behind that question.
True that, though. Some people who have seen it in person become ill. Fine. Children,
fine.
Not fine. But children also run away from it screaming. So
it's all those possibilities.
Yeah.
They're coming.
So it's on eBay. The first bid they got for it was $199. But it ended up selling for $1,025 to a gallery in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Weird.
We know where that is. And I didn't write this part down, so I'm just going to say it from memory. Hopefully that works out for me. The gallery in Grand Rapids, Michigan went and reached out to the artist to find out some stuff about it or something. And I guess the artist was like shocked by all the claims about the painting making people ill and like being haunted, or like there being a gun in the painting and like the little doll forcing that boy off of the painting or whatever. He was shocked by those claims.
Does he have like a response?
Yeah, he ultimately guessed that the object that viewers were thinking was a gun was a dry cell battery and a tangle of wires. And
in the painting?
Right. And like I literally put after that on my notes, on a painting, because where it is, like in, like we'll show it so you know where it's at, but where it is like in the middle of the painting. So I don't know why there'd be a dry cell battery and...
Why would you paint a battery into some wires?
I don't know.
Is that what he's referring to? Like it's in the painting?
Yeah. When I look at the painting, the doll's holding something, but I can't see what it is, just like on like a tiny computer screen. But that's what so that was weird. Okay. And just to finish it off. So makes you ill. Kids are terrified of it. Figures are moving. Supposedly.
Gun. Dry cell battery.
Right. Weird. But the owner of the gallery in which it was first displayed in California and the critic who reviewed it right after it was put in that gallery both died within 1 year of coming into contact with it. So
cool.
I have like mixed feelings about this one because part of me is like, maybe it's just a creepy painting and people are like getting like the trick of the light is affecting how they're seeing things or whatever. But then I'm also like, these two people who came in contact with it died within a year of it.
Well, and it's a creepy painting.
Mm-hmm. Super creepy.
Like, I just can't get, like, the fact that he chose little hands to represent fantasies and possibilities just gives me, like, the heebie-jeebies. Like, why little hands? That's just so strange.
Yeah. Well, because it's not like there's, like, the boy and the doll in front of the glass, and then behind the glass is, like, this, like, magical world or whatever.
Like, that's not
It's,
depicted.
like, little tiny handprints.
And you wouldn't know that until you read why he painted it. And what it is, like what those hands are.
Yep.
I would have never thought that that's what those were.
No, me either.
Ugh,
crazy.
That's creepy.
Yep.
So our next haunted object is located in the Myrtles Plantation. And if you don't know what the Myrtles Plantation is, it's something we're like dying to go to.
Yeah. It's on the spooky bucket list.
Yes. It's in Francisville, Louisiana. And it's this like big old plantation house. And it's known as one of America's most haunted locations. And like so many Travel Channel shows have done shows about it. People on YouTube go. It's everywhere. It's really interesting though. But there's a specific mirror I think it's located in the entryway. It's like right directly across from like the main staircase. And it's got this really big, scandalous legend attached to it that everyone
I didn't know it.
believes. It's a pretty deep
I
legend.
didn't know the legend.
So here we go.
I'm excited.
So the people that owned the plantation were Clark and Sarah Woodruff. And that's a fact. That's who owned it. I don't know what year they owned it. I probably should look that up. It's fine. But the legend goes that they owned a slave girl named Chloe. And it was known that Clark was not very faithful to his wife, ever. And he kind of forced Chloe into being his mistress.
Okay.
And some claims say that he did that because she was known for eavesdropping on his business dealings with his business partners in his office, and that was like a punishment for it. Okay. That comes up again later. And then other claims are just he was just a horny, gross dude. So I'm more,
as they were back then.
I'm more inclined to believe that one. Mm-hmm. So, as I said, she was known to eavesdrop. That part of the legend doesn't change. Why he made her his mistress kind of fluctuates. But one of the times that she was eavesdropping, she was caught. And it's not clear if she was caught by Sarah or like Clark himself. But in retaliation, or as punishment to that, she had one of her ears cut off.
Ow.
Yeah. And it said that she then wore a signature green turban to cover the wound. In retaliation, Chloe supposedly baked a cake that she would feed to the family. And that cake contained extract of oleander leaves, which are highly poisonous. Okay. Oleander is like a bush, like a flowering bush. It's not something you eat. It's just...
Right. It just is.
Decorative.
Yeah.
It's very poisonous. But only Sarah and the two daughters ate the cake. Which then...
She missed her target.
Yes. Well, she targeted the whole family.
Right.
But the man I'm sure her main target.
What a bummer.
Yeah. The legend goes that Sarah and her two daughters died as a result from the poisoning. Chloe was then hanged and thrown into the river for what she did. However, none of that's true. So,
You had me in there. Okay.
That is a legend attached to the mirror. And I read that everywhere.
Okay.
Everywhere. There's even a picture of the Myrtles Plantation, and it's like an old black and white photo, but you can see somebody who looks like they're wearing a turban.
Okay.
It's like an apparition in the photo, and everyone, that's Chloe. That's the slave girl. That's everyone says that. The records of the Myrtles Plantation don't even show the Woodruff owned any slaves. Ever. So it's definitely not true. Chloe was never a woman. Furthermore, one of the daughters survived well into adulthood, and Sarah and the other daughter both passed from yellow fever.
Okay.
So...
Well, I'm pleased to know that they didn't own any slaves, but I'm also sad to know that we've been lied to.
Yeah. And it said that why that legend is attached to the mirror is that Sarah and the two daughters' souls were trapped in the mirror because they didn't cover the mirror. And I know in some Catholic traditions and some, I know when I was reading this, Ireland came up a lot. But if a family member passes, tradition has it that you're supposed to cover all of the mirrors in the house so that the wandering souls don't get stuck in the mirror. And I've known that. I don't know what specific tradition it's from, but I've heard that before. Mm-hmm. Despite the legend not being true, the mirror is still a huge cult following. And there is a ton of photos of very strange things in the mirror. And one of the main happenings with the mirror is little handprints will appear on the mirror. And I can't remember what show it was. There was a show on Travel Channel. I'll link it if I can find it. But some show, it was a paranormal show. And they were going on a tour of Myrtles Plantation before they investigated. And one of the tour guides had stopped and showed the mirror and talked about it. But she said that no matter how many times a day they clean it, they cannot get rid of the handprints or the handprints will keep reappearing. There's even reviews on TripAdvisor of people who are like, I saw the handprints. They were there. And when I go to TripAdvisor to the Myrtles Plantation page, type in mirror, hundreds of photos pop up of this mirror. Hundreds. So it's a haunted thing.
Right.
well-known thing. As I said, many people who take photos in front of the mirror, things will appear like in the background of it. And I'll pop some pictures up because there's some really compelling for like the mirror not really have anything. It's nothing specific attached to it other than the fake legend.
Right.
Nothing, as far as I could tell, nothing crazy that happened with the mirror. Nothing remotely paranormal has happened to the mirror.
Spooky mirror in a spooky house with...
Yeah, and like mirrors are said to be paranormal in their own way anyway. And maybe we can do an episode about like mirror divination and black mirrors and stuff.
That's an idea.
That's an idea. So I'm assuming that because the house is said to be super, super haunted, that the mirror is just along for the ride. Like there's gonna be creepy things in the mirror because the house is downright creepy.
Right.
And like some other photos just from around the plantation, the things aren't shy that are haunting there. Like they pop up in a bunch of images.
Why do I feel like mirrors just like absorb whatever is happening outside of them? Is that a weird thought? I just had that thought to myself. Like if something bad's happening in front of it, it just like stores that. And it's weird mirror memory. I really don't tend to think that inanimate objects are like that capable of things, but that just like crossed my mind.
Well, and like I said, mirrors have like this huge history of being creepy.
Yeah.
So I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if the mirror is used to find paranormal things. Like I said, people take photos in front of it, but I don't know. I wanted to include it because it's not, like I said, it's not inherently haunted. Right. But it's got this huge legend attached to it. And there's so many photos of things that I mean, to be fair, some photos are downright faked and it's comical that people are like passing this as like real photos. Some photos I've looked at are pretty crazy looking. So I thought it was, and it's something that like people know of. Yeah. Like when I looked up a list of haunted objects, I'm like, oh yeah, the Myrtles Plantation Mirror. I knew that.
I didn't know about it at all. So
we'll just have to test it for ourselves when we get there.
2022? 2022, please be good to us, please. So the next painting is that of the crying boy. And this is very popular.
Yeah, I know this one.
I have watched many, I don't even want to say documentaries, just episodes of different paranormal shows that have featured this painting. And if you're into paranormal stuff, you probably know about it.
Yeah, probably.
But I did learn a couple of things today.
I'm excited.
So we'll put it up. There hasn't really been any like reports of sickness or illness with this painting. So don't be afraid to look at it.
Yeah.
The painting presents a young boy with a sad gaze and tears streaming down his cheeks. It's very sad. Oh. And I do question why people would hang it in their house a little bit.
That's a good point. I never really thought about that.
Good morning. And then there's the sad baby on the wall. Like, not baby. It's a young boy, but...
Yeah. Like, I guess, like, I don't really have art. I guess I have one. I have one, like, musical related piece that my mother-in-law got me. Right. But I don't have, like, photos of, like, myself and my friends and me and my husband. But I don't hang art. Mm-mm. If I were to hang art, I don't think I'd want...
A crying boy?
Well, just, like, people in general. Like,
people I don't know in general.
Yeah. That's weird. I think that's kind of weird.
Yeah, I thought it was weird, too.
Such a crying boy.
Yeah.
Weird.
Hello, good morning. The sun is shining and that boy's depressed.
It's a good point.
So it was created by an Italian painter named Giovanni Bragolin. I think I'm saying that right. Also known as Bruno Armadio.
I can see how those are related.
I don't know. And he did that in the 1950s because it was over a span of time. Because it's not just one painting, it is a many painting.
Oh.
Yeah. So
I thought there was one.
There is one original, and then there are many others.
That he did?
Mm-hmm. There's prints of the original, other crying boys. We'll get there.
Okay, sorry. I asked questions.
So his painting immediately was receiving positive responses from the public. People were just like enamored by this crying boy. They loved it. And he was flooded with orders for more paintings of the crying boy. Flooded with orders. There's an estimated 50,000 versions of this image.
Why?
I think that's including prints as well as the paintings.
Okay.
So, but still, right? That's so many pictures. So at least
of a crying kid.
At least 50,000 people wanted a picture of a crying kid. I don't know. So
I thought I was fucking weird.
Right. True that though.
I mean, I am, but not that weird.
Right. So it's said that the depiction of the crying boy is a real person, and that Bragelin painted an orphan whose parents died in a fire. Hence why his expression is just like extremely full of grief.
Is that like a story, or is that like a...
That's supposedly the truth. That's supposedly exactly what happened. But then, and that's the story I had always heard.
Okay.
Whenever I heard about this painting, it was always that he was an orphan, his parents died in the fire, whatever. But I also read that he sold the paintings to tourists as a reminder of the orphans of World War II.
I heard that story. That sounds familiar to me.
And I had heard the other one. So, okay, plot twist. Maybe his parents died in a fire during World War II or something related to World War II.
Yeah.
And that's, okay.
I mean, that's not far off. There was a lot of fires during World War II.
Right. Well, on every website I read, it was that his parents died in a fire. And then on like two other websites, it was that it was for World War II orphans. So, okay.
Interesting.
So this is where it gets weird. Shortly after the painting was mass-produced, it was let slip that the boy in the painting actually died from an explosion. And also, this is weird, that he was molested, and I don't know what the connection necessarily is there.
I feel like that's just unnecessary personal information.
Right.
Sorry for the kid.
But they shared it, so I don't understand.
Did the painter know the boy?
From what I read, I want to say not personally.
He knew of the boy.
That's what I've gathered. It wasn't like he was I never read he was a family friend or he was friends with this kid when he was a kid. I never really picked that up. I think it was maybe knew of.
So weird.
Yeah, I don't know. So after people started finding out that the boy had passed away, that's when the terror began. Because he didn't die with his parents.
After.
Right.
The public knew the boy had died.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Right. But he didn't die in the explosion with his parents because there's a painting of him reacting to it, supposedly. Right.
Oh, so the painting is him like watching his parents die?
Because he's crying, so he's grieving his parents. So it's obviously post-parental death.
That's true. That's
right?
true.
And otherwise, he's not crying about his parents because...
No. He's just crying because he's a kid and they can do that.
Right. So Ron and May Hall bought a painting of the crying boy and hung it on the wall of their home in Rotherham.
Okay. Not the original.
No. Don't think so. I don't think so. There was many copies of it and they refer to all of them as the crying boy. So like there's not like sometimes they use the word print versus painting, but I think they're interchanging them in a way that's confusing.
Yeah, I would use print
as a
copy.
Right, but they use painting
as an
for
original.
many of them. So I don't really know.
Come on, guys.
So they bought it, hung it on the wall in their home. And shortly after, their home was burned down by a charred frying pan. The fire from the pan just... What? Yeah. So a frying pan caught on fire. It immediately started spreading to the entire house. Everything caught on fire. Every single thing. And then when the fire was extinguished and everything was ashes, like it was not even a house anymore, just gone. The only thing that remained untouched was the painting of the boy. There was no burns on it whatsoever. It was not even...
My stomach dropped.
It was not even blackened by smoke or soot.
No. Mm-hmm. Okay, back up. What are you cooking for so long that it catches on fire?
Right.
And then catches your whole house on fire?
Yeah.
I've never caught anything on fire when I'm cooking, and I'm a ditz. So, I walk away from the stove.
I've never caught anything on fire either.
You don't cook. Calling you out right here.
That is a good point. I'm not ashamed. I'd rather order food. Much too lazy. So, weird. Painting did not catch on fire.
I don't like that.
Yeah. So then, Jane McCutcheon
Oh, great last name.
She had a print. I know that.
Okay, so we know she had a print.
In the 80s, she was cleaning her kitchen when she suddenly found that her handmade drapes, blinds, and curtains were ablaze.
Why?
Good question. I did not find a reason for that fire. Her family escaped, but her home completely destroyed, and that's everything except for the print of the crying boy. Completely unscathed.
Why? I knew, this just reminds me, I had a friend in elementary school that lived down the road from me. And I remember her house burned down completely to the ground, like 2 or 3 times, like within the same like 2 years. And it was all because of like those Glade plug-in Scentsy wax, like the ones you plug into your walls. But this is just like reminding me because it was like just this random event. And as soon as they finished rebuilding their house, it burnt right down to the ground again.
Yikes. Interesting.
Side story, but that's what it's reminding me of, like just this random fire.
Freak accidents that seemingly no cause.
Yeah.
So weird that every house that has a painting of the boy, the painting is just fine.
You know,
everything else is
payback
just
for buying this weird ass painting.
Everything is dust except for the painting. Weird. The original artist, Bragg Studio, also burned down following the death of the boy in the painting.
Okay, my next question is, sorry, I have so many questions.
All right.
Did the boy grow up and then pass away? Or did he the painting was released and then the boy died like 5 years later?
You know, great question. Well, so the painting was made in the 50s. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what year Ron and May bought their painting. Or maybe it said the 70s. But Jane, she bought hers in the 80s.
Okay, so he was dead.
So he had, assuming it had been some time.
Yeah.
I don't know what the length of time is. Otherwise, he was definitely terrorizing for a hot minute.
Okay.
Either he waited a while, like, I don't know. The timing is weird because either he didn't pass for a while and then just like picked it up.
Yeah.
Or he was just like waiting before terrorizing.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
That's gonna be like kind of hard to figure out if we don't know who it was.
No
like,
idea.
Who was in the painting. You know what I mean?
So there were also claims that the painting caused the death of family members. I couldn't find anything beyond that.
Just like a claim.
Like, we have the painting, somebody died. Correlation is not causation. If college has taught me anything.
Isn't there a song like that?
There probably is.
Or a movie that's from a movie or something.
No. Correlation is not causation. That's the thing.
I'm gonna ask my mom. She'd know.
So, some also said that they tried to burn the prints and it would not catch on fire.
Gross.
Yep.
Drown it in a river.
Yeah.
You can't burn it, drown it.
Right. And there were some reports of restaurants with the print of the crying boy also burning to the ground.
Why are restaurants having this painting?
I don't.
It's such a weird painting.
I bet you Red Robin probably has a print of it.
Okay,
because they always have those weird, like a bunch of weird pictures on the wall.
I guess if it's like a kitschy, weird restaurant, then they would. But like,
right. I don't know. So there's also a comedian and writer named Stephen Punt of the radio show Punt PI. And he said that he didn't trust that the painting was fire resistant. So he decided he'd try it for himself and he would buy a copy of the painting.
You know, that's how like really bad stories happen. And you're like, I don't believe all these claims. I'm going to go do this.
Right. And so he bought it. But then he was like, crap. Like, what if there really is a curse and I just like screwed myself?
Weird how that happens after you buy it.
Right. So nervous of the possibility of a curse, he decided that's not that big of a deal. I'm going to set it on fire.
What's a little curse?
Right. So he and a friend tried to set it on fire. And they found that the only thing that caught on fire was the string holding it up. Interesting.
Why? How? This is such a weird... Because, like, to me, fire is, like, end all be all. You know?
Like fire
the high
is
and
the
mighty
thing that destroys something.
Yeah.
And if it can destroy something, you're like, oh, whoa. Like, what is that thing?
Right.
Or whatever. Yeah. So all of that is kind of what sparked the curse of the crying boy. And some people believe that the spirit of the crying boy occupies every painting that was ever produced with his face. And this just brought me to Voldemort because, like, if you don't know Harry Potter,
You suck.
you can click off now. Thank you. But, like, if you don't, I guess I'll explain it. Voldemort, like, made Horcruxes, or, like, he broke off pieces of his soul to occupy inanimate objects, so it was harder to kill him.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what it reminded me of. So, like, there's just, like, a little piece of this little guy's spirit in every single painting.
The 50,000 of them?
He's never going to die if that's the case. It's fine. So, at the end of the day, is it haunted? Is it a coincidence? Don't know. But
We don't believe in coincidences, though.
it does not make sense to me.
You know, I want a t-shirt that says that.
I don't believe in coincidence. Yeah, we'll make some. Merch 2021.
Hint.
If you follow us, we can make merch. Subscribe. It doesn't make sense to me that dozens of houses that hold these paintings are having just like coincidental fires.
When the painting is based on somebody who lost his parents to fire.
Right. And people think that it's, the little boy is just angry and he's just like, screw you, setting it on fire.
Well, in death, in the afterlife, I think I'm going to be pretty vengeful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, is that bad to announce? Is that bad karma
What are they
to
going to do to you?
announce?
What are they going to do to you?
I don't know.
Banish you? Missed. Like, what are you going to do?
Busby.
Okay, just
Oh, sage?
try.
Nah.
No.
I use that in life. I'm fine.
Right,
Obsidian?
we're good. No, good try.
Oh my gosh.
There was also a firefighter named Alan Wilkinson, and he stressed that the fires were caused by carelessness and not...
Well, the lady with the frying pan.
Yeah, it was not supernatural. However, he did admit that he noted more than 50 crying boy fires since 1973.
Himself?
That's what he says. He noted more than 50 crying boy fires. So either he himself put them out, or he was like...
Or like the
researching
station
it,
or whatever.
Right. So, I don't know.
50? Good God.
Yeah, but I also have some bad news because...
Like, the rest of that wasn't bad news.
Right. Well, you're like, oh, cool. Like, this painting is like super haunted and it can't catch on fire. But grain of salt, because
Somebody did set it on fire.
No. The painting probably had a fire retardant varnish on it, because that's how they like finished paintings. Especially in the UK, apparently that was like a popular thing to add to paintings. So they would have added a varnish that would have like stopped it from being set on fire, or like at least slowed it down. And it was also printed on compressed board, which would also make it
doesn't
hard.
freaking burn.
It would make it hard to burn. So,
But would that fire retardant and board be like smoke damage resistant?
I would think not.
That's what I would think.
I think the varnish might stop it from the smoke impacting the painting or the print itself, but not necessarily impacting the varnish. You would think the varnish would be covered in smoke or whatever, because
Right.
I think you can
or
take
soot or
I
something.
want to say that you can take varnish off and like re-put varnish on. Don't
You
quote
can.
me.
I know you can re-varnish because that wears down over.
Right.
Right.
I
don't know.
I don't know.
I have no idea about any of that. So
Right, but I mean, I don't believe in coincidences. So
and yeah, and like if it's untouched, your whole house is like dust.
at the end of the day, okay, the thing didn't burn. It not burning seems kind of like, demonic's not the word that I want to use. Kind of dark, like a dark spiritual thing, but it's not burning. It's weird
Yeah.
to me. And that's fine. The varnish, the compressed board, that makes sense. But what the hell's starting the fires?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or like,
like-
the lady with the curtains is
Just suddenly we're
she's a
ablaze.
witch. Didn't know it. Powers got out of hand.
Could be.
Sorry, I'm reading a book about witches right now.
So, we know where your head's at, but it's
And
fine.
gargoyles.
Yeah. So, yeah. I don't know. I think that one's real. That thing freaks me out.
Yeah, I would
just-
never buy it.
I was just sitting here scrolling and I was like, oh, because I saw a picture of it just like popped up on my screen and I was like, okay, goosebumps, but it's fine.
Gross.
Might be psychosomatic. I'm kind of a baby like that, so who knows?
Yeah, right. So our last haunted object I'm really excited for. This is like one of my favorite stories legends.
Okay.
I don't know if it's legend or not.
Okay.
I'm sure there's some truth in it. There's got to be, right?
Yeah, there's always some truth.
Always some truth. This is the Thomas Busby chair, and it's located in the UK, and this is something I desperately want to go see. This chair is just like a wooden oak.
Dining room chair.
Yeah, like dining room chair. However, it is nailed to the ceiling.
Indeed.
And you're like, wow, that makes no sense.
Very useful.
How am I going to use this chair if it's on the ceiling? Like, I want that chair. Mm-hmm. If you sit in it, death shall come upon you.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. Documented.
I like to visit the chair.
The electric chair or, the Busby chair?
What coin?
Coin flip. Ooh, can I decorate your shroud?
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Off track.
Going straight to hell.
Yeah, well.
Marty.
Well, we'll see you there. Anyway. So who was Thomas Busby and why is his chair nailed to the frickin' ceiling of a museum in the UK? Thomas was a thug, drunkard, thief. He ran an inn in the late 1600s in North Yorkshire. Just kind of like a shitty guy all around. He was married to a woman named Elizabeth, and her dad was a petty thief that he was kind of like partnered with, and they had like shitty business dealings that they did. So the story goes that one night the two men got into a very heated argument. I could not find, for the life of me, why they were fighting.
Okay.
Could not find out why. So they had the argument. They both parted ways. Later that day, Busby returned to the inn that he ran. And that's where like kind of their like hangout spot was the inn that he ran. And his partner, Elizabeth's father, was threatening to take her away from him and to leave him. To make matters worse, he was sitting in his favorite chair while he told him this, which was his oak chair that was just in the inn, in the lobby. So later that night, after his father-in-law and wife went to bed, Busby grabbed a hammer and went and bludgeoned his father-in-law to death.
Beginning to every beautiful love story.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he was arrested and tried for murder and set for execution by hanging. Now, one variation of the story goes that on his way to the gallows, Busby cursed his chair then. Another story, which is the one that I've heard, was that he was drunk and sitting in his chair when the police came to arrest him, and he cursed it then as he was sitting in it. And that's the one that I've heard more often than the other one.
Okay.
So I'm like, I mean, that one makes for a better story. So
True that, though.
He proclaimed that should anyone sit in his chair, death should shortly come for them. Because it was his damn chair.
Well, you know how it is when you have a perfect chair in a perfect spot, and then you walk in and somebody's sitting in it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? And you just...
Like my favorite seat in the back of the classroom at the campus.
And you walk in, somebody's singing it, you're real mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody did to me. So I walked into my music theory class like a week or two ago. And one of the girls that I talked to, I mean, I'm friends with her, but she was, and there's no assigned seats in college, obviously.
Right.
We just kind of sit wherever. But I usually sit in the same spot every day just because habit. And she looked up at me coming in the room and she goes, oh, I'm in your spot. And she gathered all her stuff up and left. I'm like, you did not have to do that. There's
you're gonna kill her.
There's 2 empty spots next to you. Mm-hmm. I'm like, you.
But low key, you were like, that's right. You will move.
Yeah, I'm like,
you will
get out
move.
of my spot.
You will move.
That's my spot.
Because that's my chair. So I get it. I get where he was coming from.
Apparently I have the same effect on people. Today, where the execution took place, stands a pub. And this is the pub that has housed this chair for a while, until it was moved to the museum. The chair was moved because the curse is real.
Okay.
Supposedly.
Okay.
So the first...
I was waiting for something else. I was like, okay. Yeah, all right.
The first reported death to be caused by the chair, from somebody sitting in the chair, was a chimney sweep in 1894. He was drinking in the pub with his friends, happened to be sitting in this chair. Mm-hmm. Just this random chair, he thought. Being so drunk, he couldn't make it home. He decided to spend the night sleeping on the side of the road. I don't know if there was a decision there or if he just really couldn't make it home.
He just slept on the sidewalk or whatever. Okay.
The next morning, his body was found hung from a post next to the road. It was ruled a suicide, but everybody kind of thought that, it was the chair. He sat in the chair.
Okay. I don't know.
However, that's fake.
I was gonna say, I gotta rebut that because you're not so drunk that you can't make it home and then.
No, one of the friends that he was drinking with, I think it was in 1914, he was dying, and he confessed that he killed him and made it look like a suicide. One of the guys he was drinking with in the pub. But he did sit in the chair.
Okay. Question, though. Did his friend that killed him know about the chair curse?
I don't know. I didn't read that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if he was just like, oh, this is the perfect opportunity, I will kill you.
Yeah. It said that he robbed him, and then he killed him because he robbed him. But I'm like, if you're that drunk, rob him.
Right.
Not that I'm gonna rob you.
Okay, no, I'm not drinking in front of ever again.
Yeah, right.
You'd have to have money to be robbed. So, and I don't have any.
Well, I'm safe too. So yeah, it was kind of just, he was dying on his deathbed. He'd gotten away with it for his whole life.
Sure.
But the curse is real. The next kind of big uproar of the chair was during World War II, and the pub was really popular among a specific group of airmen. It's not a squad. I don't know what you call a group of airmen that belong to the same.
That's a great question.
Call your mom.
That's my mom. I don't know.
But this specific group
of
airmen in World War II, it was a popular drinking spot for them. And the chair became somewhat of like a challenge game.
A fleet? Sorry, I was still on it.
I mean, it would make sense.
Anyway,
sorry.
It was a game for them.
Yeah, it was a game. So the guys would take turns daring other men to sit in it.
Okay.
However, if and when they got somebody to do it, like if they got them drunk enough to sit them in the chair, that person that sat in the chair did not return home from their next mission.
Oh God, that makes my stomach hurt.
Did not return. And there was a story of the same group of airmen who, and this was kind of like the last straw for them. Two of the men sat in it as whatever, this curse of this chair, whatever. They died on the way home. They got in a really bad car accident. There's a picture of the car that I can put in. They hit a pole or a tree.
Oh wow!
And they died.
Coincidences.
The next claim of misfortune from this chair is a janitor or a cleaning lady that worked there. And she happened to fall onto the chair. Like she tripped and fell into the chair.
Okay.
And then a few days later, she was diagnosed with a brain tumor. And she was perfectly healthy. Perfectly healthy woman.
Oh my God.
Several fatal car accidents and motorcycle accidents occurred after people came and sit in this chair, on the way home from the pub. Not even days later, just on the way home. I mean, those people didn't, it's not like all of these deaths racking up.
Right.
Car accidents, some fatal, some not. Accidents nonetheless. A man suffered a heart attack sitting in the chair. A group of builders that visited the pub to drink, they again dared one of their coworkers to sit in the chair, and he did. And the next time they went to the building site they were working on, he fell through the roof and died.
Oh my God.
Even a delivery man who was delivering to the cellar, after the owner of the pub moved the chair down to the cellar, obviously. Even a delivery man who was doing deliveries took a seat in the chair because it was there. It wasn't roped off. And he died leaving the pub when his van went off the road.
It's not a coincidence anymore.
No.
No.
The chair was moved to the museum. That's I think it's right across the street or right near there in 1978. And it's still there. It's still a popular attraction. It's in the Thirsk Museum in Thirsk, UK.
Okay.
Which I want to go see this chair.
I'm not sitting in it.
No, they won't take it down. It's nailed to the ceiling. People have asked them if they could sit in it to test it because they didn't believe it. And the owners will not remove it.
That's honestly a good call.
Yeah. Well, because then they can be held liable.
Unless you sign a waiver. That's it.
I mean, don't you have to sign a waiver to see Annabelle?
Probably.
I thought you did.
Probably.
Or you did at one point.
Probably. Maybe Robert the Doll, too.
Yeah.
I want to say. I want to say you do. I don't know.
Robert the Doll's on a weird island. We found that out. Not a weird island.
Actually,
it's in the Key
Robert
West.
the Doll's on a great island for a great doll. Robert.
Yes. Sorry.
He's on a great island.
Yes.
It was Key West, right?
It was Key West, yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a strange place for a doll. It's a great doll.
Very far away place for an awesome doll, like Robert the Doll. Yes.
Yeah. Speaking of haunted objects,
yes.
we don't know for sure, but we might have acquired our first haunted object.
Yeah,
No promises.
we're hoping. Fingers
Grain of
crossed.
salt.
We're hoping that she's making herself comfortable.
We've named her. It's not a doll.
It's not a doll. Not yet. But so okay, we'll just start from the beginning. So yesterday, if you have follow us on social media, you've already seen this.
Yeah,
and by the time that this comes out, you'll have seen it a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I went to Best Buy. I needed a phone case. And right next to our Best Buy...
Why did you go to Best Buy for a phone case?
I really wanted a matte black phone case. And nowhere sells what I want.
I literally picked one up at Five Below 2 days ago.
But I don't want the silicone. I want
It wasn't silicone.
Listen. Anyway, I spent too much money at Best Buy buying a case.
You go to Best Buy for a phone case. Sorry.
I am who I am. And right next door to the Best Buy, there's like, what's it called? Estate sale something.
Where it's an estate warehouse. Estate sale warehouse.
Yeah. And I've been there before, like twice before, I want to say. And I was halfway to my car and I was like, I should go there. Mm-hmm. And so I did. I didn't really have time to go there, but I did anyway. And so I just felt like this weird pull to go.
Well, and this place is like, if you've ever been to like an antique mall, there's another one that we frequent a lot. I love that place. But it's basically, there's this huge warehouse and each group of things is in their own booth. And it's numbered, like booth number 8. And it's just this person who's rented a spot there and can put up all their crap, basically.
Trying to get rid of all their stuff.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So I'm walking, and I'm like zigzagging out of the aisles. And to be honest, I was looking for a doll. When I was walking around, I had been looking for a doll. I was trying to see if there was one that just like called out to me. You know?
Before we get a haunted doll, we're getting a specific shed to put the thing in.
Yes.
I'm not putting it in my house.
No. Put it in the garage. Should be fine out there. But so I'm going around or whatever and looking for a doll. And I walked down this aisle and then I was like, wait, what? And I turned and I looked and there was this old stroller, buggy, pram, if you will. It's like Victorian style pram. It's a wicker. And so immediately I texted you and I was like, look at this thing.
I was in my pajamas eating popcorn in my recliner.
And you were like, buy it.
Well, because it was like $25.
It was $25.
It had a sticker on it for $100. And then a big, bright, newer looking sticker that's for $25.
Yep. And you were like, buy it right now.
Yep.
And you're like, will it fit in your car? No, it won't fit in my car. So I'm on my way.
Yeah. I'm like, will it fit in your car? And you texted back, no, I'm finding pants. I'm coming.
I'm coming down there. So we bought a stroller, pram.
We had to put I have a Prius, so we had to put the back seats down.
It's a very big trunk. If you need a little car with a big trunk, that's the one.
And great gas mileage.
Yeah.
I really hope Rob sees this.
Yeah, great trunk. Great stroller.
It's a little broken. Not unfixable.
It's a little broken.
But
when I was waiting
worse for wear.
Well, when I was waiting for you, I was just standing there. I was standing very close to the stroller. I was just
because you didn't want to buy it until I saw it.
Right.
Because whatever.
So I'm just hovering around this stroller and people probably thought I was crazy because I just like kept standing next to it. And I was researching on my phone and trying to figure out like what time frame it's from, whatever. And what we've determined is that it was manufactured sometime between probably 1880 and 1910. Mm-hmm. Like the wicker, like buggy was very common during that time, and it kind of like tapered out in popularity, I think in like the end of 1920s or something like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
We named her Gertrude. Gertie for short.
Gertie. Honestly, she's beautiful. Like if she was like in her prime.
Oh, yeah.
If she was in her prime, she would be awesome.
She's currently in my attic. If you saw our stories, you'll see it in my dirty attic. It's not really an attic. It's like the upstairs. There's only one room on the second floor, which is like the hub of all the paranormal activity in my house. So we're like, let's put this potentially haunted item in the most haunted place in my house.
In the most haunted room.
I brought my husband to work last night, and he was texting me like, what are you guys doing? And I'm like, trying to see if this is haunted. And he's like, great idea. Bring this into the house. Screw with the other ghosts. And he's like, if this thing turns out to be haunted and it screws our life, I'm smacking you in the head.
I would say.
He's not going to smack me in the head.
He's not going to smack me
full disclosure.
I will say I don't recommend buying haunted objects and storing them in a haunted space.
No.
In general. I wouldn't.
No.
If somebody was going to ask me if they should do that, I'd probably say no.
Yeah. I could put it in the garage. But, I mean, I'm not going to know if it's haunted if I don't spend any time with it.
Yeah. How are you going to know if it's going bump in the night if you can't hear it going bump in the night?
Yeah. And that attic is right above my room.
What better way to have it right above you?
Yeah.
So.
We did like a small investigation last night, and we got some pretty weird things.
Yeah.
Like, we used the dowsing rods, and I don't think we've used them for real in my house yet until last night. That was a weird experience.
We don't even know if those answers were related to the pram or if they were related to
whatever is in my house.
We don't know.
But, so we'll let you know if Gertie is haunted.
We had some mixed findings last night.
Yeah.
So, we don't know, but...
Hey man, if I hear
either way, we have a really
upstairs,
cool old stroller just hanging out.
Yeah, and now we just need a haunted doll to put in it. In a shed to put the whole thing.
A whole shed, because it's got to be separate.
Oh yeah, it's got to be its own thing in there.
So, if there's any other haunted objects that you'd like us to look into, there's a million of them, but if there's any...
Here's the thing, we don't have the money to spend on, like, crazy haunted objects.
Right.
But
we could talk about all the haunted objects.
Yeah. I do want to get a haunted doll. I do want to do that.
That's on the list.
That's on the list. Probably not, like, super soon, but, like, we could that would be so cool for us to have.
Let's just get your house full of ghosts, and then you can move. That's an idea.
Perfect.
If there's any haunted objects that you want us to look into, research, they can be specific or just, like, in general. I don't know.
Part 2?
There could be a handful of parts, probably. Yeah.
We noticed at the same time. A handful of parts.
Anyway, there could be...
Now you know who we are as people.
There could be a ton of parts. But you can reach out to us on any of our social media sites. We are on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube at Sunday Night Spookies. Almost didn't get that. And we are on Twitter at Sunday Spookies.
We also have some links in our description box. We have a link to our Buzzsprout, which is the hosting website we use for a podcast. It houses everything. Anything that you need to run a podcast is in this one website. It is so amazing. If you use our link to start your own podcast, you can get an Amazon gift card, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
We also have a link for our Instacart affiliate, which, if you don't know what Instacart is, where have you been?
Yep.
For the last 2 years,
pandemic.
specifically. You can get your groceries delivered to you in as little as an hour, and if you use our link, you get free delivery on your first order of $30 or more.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Sunday Night Spookies.
Join us next week for our first episode about aliens.
First of many.
First of many, yeah. It's just Aliens Part 1. There's going to be many episodes, but we're diving in. We're starting.
New episodes are released every Sunday evening. Thanks so much for listening, and as always,
Stay spooky.